So yeah, we're gonna talk about Far Cry New Dawn, one of the most confusing releases of 2019. I played it a few months back and immediately dropped it, and kind of felt bad, so I decided to play it again and beat it. And I'm gonna be real with it, it ain't that bad. So let me give you some background on my history with the series. My favorite in the series is 3. I've played through 4 and Primal, got through half of 1 and 2. And the only one I didn't play was 5 due to the open world Ubisoft game fatigue I had from playing Origins, Primal, and 4 back to back. And, well, yeah, it gets fucking exhausting after that. So I saw 5 and New Dawn on sale and figured I didn't want to commit to a huge open world with dozens and dozens and dozens of hours. And I heard New Dawn was pretty much a smaller version of 5 with some pink in it. So, fuck it. Now we're here. And what I didn't really understand was, why did everyone hate it? Yeah, I know it released a year after 5 and pretty much used the same chunk of the same map from 5 and, well, duh. The same controversy happened with Primal, where people went Sherlock Holmes on the map and lined that bitch up with 4 and, oh, would you look at that, it's the same map. But when I played it, I could not tell at all. It felt like two very different maps based on the scenery and location and time period, whatever the game was set in. One, you had AKs and explosives and gyrocopters. The other, you're a caveman with spears riding saber-toothed lions, tigers, whatever the fuck they are. And I enjoyed both games just fine. They never felt so close to the feeling of playing the same game. And another thing I don't understand about this argument is that, yeah, it was released a year after, but it was also released under a reduced price because they knew it was a smaller game but bigger than some DLC. And while some fans might be frustrated because of this, and it's pretty just and fair and makes sense, it's clear that this game wasn't a full game on release. They made it super clear. It was just a smaller project that they were working on. As of writing, Resident Evil 3 Remake has just released, and the reviews I've been reading have been pretty mixed because of the same situation. RE2 just released a year prior, and both games were worked on simultaneously, pretty much. And that's good, right? Not entirely. Both games are said to feel identical to each other, with RE3 having more of an action-based gameplay, but even then, the story campaign is about 6 to 7 hours, and it's being sold for $60? Like, come on, man. However, even the big game journalists are still giving it 9s and 8, while Far Cry New Dawn got 7s or maybe lower. And while people might argue, well, Arno, RE3 has a resistance mode, a multiplayer, with asymmetrical gameplay, the fight as this monster dude, and you're these survivors, like Dead by Daylight. And yeah, but let's be honest, not that many people are playing about it. Sure, I see people playing it here and there, but no one is going out of their way going to play this game mode, sadly. And if you're a fan of it, cool, love it all you want. But that's not the reason I want to play Resident Evil 3. New Dawn, however, tried justifying its price point by adding a lot more replayability to the outposts and all the other activities that they added in the game. And while even more people might argue, oh, you're just grinding to craft weapons and stuff. Not really, no. New Dawn never felt like it was a grind. Hell, 2 runs through an outpost was the most I did. I managed to get through the game just fine. Hell, one of the biggest examples I want to give is that I ran through one outpost twice, wingsuited my ass down to the next outpost, did that one twice, in about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe? And that's not really grinding. It didn't feel like grinding, I just standard progression. Hell, maybe it's even faster than the progression in past games, having you level up more because of this replayability. And not even that, there's also the expeditions, but we'll get into that later. Hell, I barely even touched the expeditions at all in this game. The expeditions, if you don't know, are these kind of side missions in these remote locations. You go in, get a package, and get out. I did 1 or 2 in just one location, and I went through the whole game just fine. I managed to finish the game without having any of the enemies feel bullet spongy at all, other than the final bosses, but we'll get there. This happened the same with Ratchet & Clank 3, Up Your Arsenal, Left 4 Dead 2, and more. So there's almost no reason to blame this game doing poorly due to its quick release. And now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. So compared to other Far Cry games, the story is just fine. Far Cry games never had much of great stories, other than maybe 3, and that's only because of Voss and having an interesting villain and interesting motivations in that game. Kind of. But it was interesting playing this game without having knowledge of playing the 5th game. Having this whole post-apocalyptic setting in place and happen because of some dude, and getting all these kind of hints to this player that didn't really play 5 was really cool. Sure, I did go through a quick summary and I kind of know the gist of what happened in 5. And if you didn't play 5, it's fine, you can just jump into this one. I didn't, and I managed to pick up things real quick. The villains, however, are just fine as well. They were never too annoying or anything, and they actually managed to appear like a real threat. However, one of the things I had trouble with them being leaders in this raider group or whatever is that this group spans the whole country. Because you fight the fuckers in Florida and wherever the fuck you go during the expeditions, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I wish that they were just the leaders of this one group in Hope County and have different factions of raiders during the expeditions. That being said, the New Eden people were an interesting bunch of dudes with superpowers, and yeah, Ethan was the only character I didn't like though, but that's about it. He's super annoying and whiny, and yeah, I'm glad I shot that guy in the face. One of the praises I actually have to give to the game were the designs for the weapons, vehicles, and enemies. Weapons had this scrappy look to them, having been put together by scrap and duct tape and all this really cool stuff. Like, these are how post-apocalyptic weapons should look like Fallout. Like, not pieces of wood with bits of metal on them. That's just, no. And all the enemies and vehicles look really cool. Like, one of my favorite designs was the plane boat thing that they didn't know how to figure out. They couldn't figure out how to fix this plane, so they just managed to use it as a boat. This is pretty funny. And all the other vehicles had this weird Mad Max look to them, and it just looked awesome. As for the gameplay, it's Far Cry, alright, with one big difference. Alright, I'm just kidding. You don't really get these abilities till way later in the game, but honestly I really loved them and how they included them in the game and how you get them late in the game. The only one I really used though was Rage Mode, obviously, and the double jump. They were fun to use, and those that complain that this isn't what Far Cry is, let me remind you that this is the series where you fight a giant tribal monster with a bow and arrow in 3. Or the Shangri-La sections in 4, or how you're a fucking caveman in Primal. And that's just scratching the surface. Not even talking about Blood Dragon, or the zombie DLCs in 5, and you go to space in that one too. Far Cry is meant to be weird. Let's just embrace it, alright? It's no shock that this game went post-apocalyptic on us. Honestly, Far Cry has never been a series you should take seriously. Hell, this isn't the first game where you get powers, so what's the big deal? Anywho, powers are cool. That's all you need to know. And finally, we get a game where I actually kind of enjoyed the crafting. Actually, yeah, the crafting is fine. While it's understandable why you need to craft, it just felt kind of eh. I don't know how to explain it, and like any other Far Cry game, I found the best guns and stuck to them for the rest of the game. So, yeah. The crafting didn't feel like a grind, and feels just fine. So anyone that complains about it, there's not really much to complain about. So, yeah. So yeah, I didn't know what to call this part of the videos, so it's just other shit I kind of liked in this game. The treasure hunt puzzles were really cool, looking for supplies. The game didn't take forever, and I appreciate that. There's a dog, there's a hog, and the guns look really badass. The game is really, really good graphically. It looks pretty as shit. And it has this. Yeah, I'm not good at transitions, so fuck it. We're just gonna talk about some complaints of the game I had. Initially, the game doesn't have bullet spongy enemies like some reviewers complained about, unless you try fighting you know, the purple or blue dudes with a gray gun. But yeah, kind of asking for it. However, the last two fights in the game with the twins and big boy Ethan are huge bullet sponges, and it's kind of annoying. It caught me super off guard, but then I realized that I could just punch the shit out of them with the rage mode and win. But yeah, just beware, the last two boss fights are super bullet spongy, so gear up for those fights. I managed to do them just fine. I had like purple and gold guns, and they were still a little bit bullet spongy, but not too much. But it's not something that's going to take you hours to do. Another thing I didn't like were most of the characters. Yeah, Far Cry hasn't had any strong supporting characters in the series other than 3. I know. 3 is the perfect Far Cry game if you want to get into Far Cry. Side note, there it is. So just play that one if you want to get into the series. All the other ones are great. It's just more of the same. Far Cry 3 is the peak. It's just slowly been going down. It's kind of up, but you know, it is what it is. Oh yeah, back to the characters. Yeah, most of them were kind of cringy and annoying, especially this bitch and this bitch, which is why I tried my best to avoid staying too long in Prosperity, the main base of the game, and the camp that you're building up for all these people, and mainly had Timber as my companion, because he's a dog, and they can't do no wrong, so yeah. And that's about it. Yeah, the game isn't perfect, and but it was still an enjoyable game for the weekend. This is a game I would highly recommend to those that can't afford many games and just want something quick to play if they're bored, and if you're still waiting on Cyberpunk still. It's a fine game and didn't deserve all the hate it got. So play it and just make fun of it, for fuck's sake, who cares? Just don't hate something just because it isn't entirely new. Hell, we have series based on that kind of ideal, that just tiny tweaks just makes it a good game. That's all for this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you're slightly more interested in Far Cry New Dawn. Give it a try maybe. Right now it's like 15, 14 bucks on sale on anything. So yeah. I'll see you next time. Next video we're going to talk about another game people hated, but I actually really liked, and I feel like it could be better soon. So yeah, there's going to be an ongoing series where I'll talk about some random game that I've just been playing, and I'll just give my thoughts and discuss it with you guys. So just have fun with it, you know, not be assholes to each other. These are just video games at the end of the day. So let's just have fun with these kinds of discussions. Thank you for watching. And next week will be the next Let's Talk video, and it will be on a certain Call of Duty game. So keep an eye out for that. See you next time.